Think having your cruise canceled causes a headache? Just be happy you don't work for a cruise line right now. Now, I recently had a sailing on Carnival canceled, and what happened wasn't what I expected, but it definitely worked out in my favor. Coronavirus has wreaked havoc on the cruise industry. That is no big secret. But several weeks ago, Carnival offered a glimmer of hope when they announced a new phased-in approach to return to sailing. At the same time, coronavirus cases were actually trending down instead of this big second spike that we've now seen. That's why back in early June, I booked a trip aboard Carnival, hopeful that the cruise line would get back to sailing, even though I knew that there was a good chance my trip could possibly be canceled. What I booked was a 5-night trip aboard the Carnival Sensation sailing out of Miami. Now, this trip departed August 1st, making it one of the absolute first cruises back. Sailing took us from Miami to Grand Turk to Half Moon Cay and then Nassau before returning back home. All told, I spent $778 to get the cheapest interior cabin I could find. That included $558 in cruise fare and about $220 in port fees, taxes, and automatic gratuities that I went ahead and prepaid. Now, when I booked, I knew there was a good chance that Carnival might have to extend their suspension and that my trip might not sail. That's why I didn't allow myself to get too excited about sailing until closer to August 1st when the trip was set to depart. Sure enough, June 19th, CLIA, which stands for Cruise Lines International Association, it's an industry group that Carnival is part of, they actually came out and said that all of their member cruise lines would be suspending sailings until at least mid-September. So on June 19th, I knew that my trip wasn't going to sail. However, I didn't actually hear any word from Carnival until the next Monday. On the next Monday, they actually sent me an email explaining the cancellation and also laying out my options for refund. My two choices were I could first have a 100% refund, get all of my money back, and go about my day. Carnival also had another option where I could get 100% cruise credit for what I paid, plus when I rebook, I can get $300 in onboard credit for my trouble for the canceled trip. Obviously, I planned on cruising again. I'm going to cruise again in the future, so taking the extra onboard credit made a lot of sense. So with that in mind, I filled out the online form that Carnival provided, got my confirmation email, and I was all set to go. But then that's when some strange things started to happen. A few days after the cruise was canceled, I got a blank email from Carnival. All there was an attached PDF. So I opened this PDF up and it said, "Sorry that your reservation has been canceled. If this occurred during the penalty period, the amount will be listed below." Then it said there was a $279 penalty assessed. Obviously, this caught my attention. There was no way I was going to pay a penalty for a cruise that Carnival actually canceled. But I got this email on a Friday afternoon, so I decided just to hold off for the weekend and call them on Monday, hoping that maybe they sent me another follow-up email saying that I received this PDF by mistake. Now by Monday, I still hadn't heard anything from Carnival, so I went ahead and gave them a call. That's when I found out what actually happened was much different than what I expected, but it really worked out in my favor. So here's what was supposed to happen based on everything that I've read from the forms that Carnival sent. I opted for the 100% cruise credit. That means all of your cruise fare would be applied to the next trip. Everything else that you paid, such as the gratuities and the port fees and the taxes, would be refunded. So as I said earlier, the cruise fare was $558. That meant about $220 should have been refunded to my card. So what actually happened, for reasons that I'm still not entirely sure about, even after talking to Carnival, 50% of my cruise fare was actually refunded to me, and only 50% of what I paid went to the new cruise credit. So instead of getting about $220 back in gratuities and port fees and taxes, I actually got close to $500 back because half of my cruise fare was also refunded. Now this is great news. It gives me more money back, but also I am still eligible for Carnival's future cruise credit with the extra $300 in onboard credit when I rebook my cruise. Now, there have been a lot of people complaining about slow refund processes from the cruise lines. I'm here to say my cruise was canceled on June 22nd officially when I got official word from Carnival, and by July 3rd, I had the $499 that Carnival refunded back into my bank account. So it took about 2 weeks from start to finish until I got my refund. And as for that email that I got with the $279 penalty on my account, the representative I spoke to just told me to disregard it. And I checked through all the math with them to make sure I was getting all my money back, either as cruise credit or a refund. In the end, not everything went as expected with this cancellation of the Carnival cruise. However, I was made whole, and in fact actually came out ahead because I got more money refunded to me than I expected. Plus, I was still eligible for the future cruise credit with the $300 in onboard credit. So I'm definitely a happy customer in this case. If you've had your cruise canceled by Carnival, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. How long did it take you to get your money back? Did you have any hiccups like we did with the transaction? Did you get that scary letter telling you if there was a penalty assessed? I'd love to hear about it below as well. Be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, happy cruising.